Welcome back to the FAST lecture series. Today we're going to go back through the main structures of the heart and how it beats. The overall function of the heart is to pump blood through the circulatory system, but it's a little more involved than that. When blood is pumped around, that blood has stuff in it, usually stuff that helps keep us alive. For example, blood containing oxygen and nutrients is going to be pumped to the body. So you're going to have stuff like oxygen or nutrients, and those nutrients could be anything like glucose or proteins, fats, any vitamins or minerals that we might need. So we get that, from respiration and that from digestion. So blood containing oxygen and nutrients is pumped to the body. Blood containing CO2 and waste is going to be pumped to the lungs and the digestive system. So you're going to get CO2 that's coming from the body and also waste. And those are going to get disposed of through exhalation and excretion from the respiratory and the digestive systems. So in order to keep these two types of blood separate, the heart is actually divided in half. And before we go any further, we need to know how these halves are labeled. Even though this side seems like it's the right side, you have to imagine that this heart is inside of a human. If it's inside of a human, it's actually on the left side of their body. So we're going to label everything over here as left, and everything over here as right. And if you're having trouble figuring that out, just kind of turn your diagram and put it on yourself, and you'll see what I mean, that this will be on the left side of your body, and this will be on the right side. Now, each half of the heart has two chambers or openings. Now, they are going to be separated by some valves. We're not going to really cover those that much today. Just know that they're there. We'll talk about that more next time. But they have two chambers on each side, which is going to be a total of 4. The chambers at the top of the heart are going to be called the left and right atrium. And the plural of this would be atria. So it's really the left and right atria. And then the two chambers down at the bottom are what we would call the left and right ventricles. And then this is your right ventricle. Now, these chambers are separated by valves. These valves are one way. They will prevent blood from flowing backwards, which would be kind of a day ruiner. We'll go over how valves work next time, but for now, just know that they are separating these chambers. So how does the heart actually beat? You're probably familiar with the lub-dub beat of the heart, which sounds kind of like this. So what you're actually hearing are your atria and your ventricles contracting at different times. Your atria are the lub and your ventricles are the dub. This is necessary because the atria are going to push blood into your ventricles with a lot of force, which is going to cause your ventricles to be filled more completely. The long and short of it is that if you didn't have atria, your ventricles would never fill up completely, so you would actually not be pumping out as much blood to the body or to your lungs, which wouldn't be good. So the atria are super important. That's why they're divided into two chambers, and that's why they have to beat at different times. So how do they actually do that? And the answer is that they are controlled by a series of nerves. Those nerves are going to force the heart to contract with the atria first, and then the ventricles second. And we're going to talk about that in this contraction control right over here. So the first bundle of nerves that are going to be receiving this electrical signal from your brain. Your brain is telling these nerve cells to contract your heart. The first bundle of these is going to be called the sinoatrial, and that's all one word, or SA node. And you can always refer to it as the SA node. I just want you to see what it's short for. But the SA node is going to end up contracting your atria. That's the thing that gets the signal first, and it's going to make your atria contract. So now the atria have contracted. Now the problem is that electrical signals are really fast. So if it went straight from the atria to the ventricles, they would probably contract at the same time, which isn't good. We can't have that. So there's this little intermediate stage. It's called your atrioventricular node. I'm just going to call it the AV node for right now. But this is your atrioventricular node. It's going to be right around here. It's going to be in this region of the heart. And the reason it's here is because it's right in between the atrium and the ventricles. It's going to slow down that signal. So that's going to prevent the atrium and ventricles from contracting at the same time. This is going to allow the atrium to contract first, and then before that signal gets down here, it's going to slow down and then get to the ventricles. So you got your sinoatrial, or your SA node, your AV node, and then there's this last one down here that has a really long name, and you'll never need to remember this beyond its abbreviated version. Should be HP complex. So it's the His-Purkinje complex, or the HP complex. And that's going to contract your ventricles. So this signal has now traveled from your brain to the sinoatrial node to contract your atria. Your atrioventricular node has slowed that signal down. And then your His-Purkinje, or HP complex, is going to contract the ventricles. So this first, this second. Now we'll go over all three nodes again in class, but for now, just remember that the heart has two halves, each with two chambers, and it uses those chambers to pump blood to and from the body. And that, for now, is the end.